We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made on YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get 50 after Monday Night Raw?
Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison. I'm back from Forbidden Door, and we have a lot to talk about on today's show. But to talk about all of it with me, I need a good panel, and I certainly have one. Let's kick things off outside LA, inside Orange County. How are you, Clark?
I'm stoked to be here. I had a blast last night. Got to see some live wrestling over at the Irvine Improv. It was a really fun show. John Hennigan, a bunch of cool stars out there, and I can't wait to get into this Wednesday show, Ben. I'm stoked.
Absolutely. It's always a fun one. And we got Roundhead in the comments as well saying good evening. We got Des in the comments too. Fernando as well. And Zach saying happy National Banana Lovers Day. I mean, I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know most of these day things that you comment every day are a thing, Zach, but they certainly are ones. But also joining me today, over in, I completely forgot where you live, Josh, but we got Josh Markowitz. How are you?
Well, that's perfectly fine because I live in a lot of places. I live in Philadelphia. I live in New York now because of college. So it's confusing, Ben. You're not the only one to be confused about that. But it's Wednesday. You know what that means? It is news. One of my favorite days in the Wrestling Republic podcast. And yeah, like Zach said, you know, I'm a solid fan of bananas. I wouldn't say I'm a big fan, but I'm a bigger fan of news here at Wrestling Republic, and that's what we're going over. I'm ready to get into it. Let's do it.
Absolutely. And to be fair to me, I was about to say Philadelphia, actually. That was what I went to say, and then I double guessed myself.
Yes, of course. I left Philadelphia, and then AEW does a whole residency there, and I can't go to any of the shows.
Oh,
so just
brutal.
great. Yeah.
And they are great shows.
Yeah.
Mad Dog says hi. Hi to you, Mad Dog. And Roundhead says, Ben, you're lucky the game finished at the weekend. When it did, we had you right where we wanted you. We all love Leeds. I mean, if you had, we beat you 5-0. Anyway, shout out to you, Roundhead. But we did win 5-0.
It's actually hilarious. It makes the comment better because I didn't know what the score was.
I think that's the joke. I think
that is
the
the joke. Like once you said that, I was like, that's 10 times. That's way funnier than if it was close.
Yeah.
Without further ado, let's get into the first topic today because, like I said, I was at AEW Forbidden Door this weekend. I was privileged enough to get to do media for the event, and I was in the press conference after the show. And during it, Tony Khan said something, and he announced it to all of the media, saying that he had been listening to fan feedback, and based on fan feedback, he had decided to make a rule change in AEW. And that rule change was that the contracts, which get won in casino gauntlet matches, of course, every year in All In, can no longer be cashed in at any time and instead have to be cashed in with at least a week's notice. So this is quite significant, especially for MJF, who previously was teasing cashing in at any given time. Now that is off the table. He has to announce it at least a week in advance. And like I said, Tony announced this as fans wanting it. They didn't want it to be another Money in the Bank. He didn't want to be copying another promotion's ideas. And Clark, I'm going to send this to you first, because do you think this is the right decision?
I really do, actually. We've had the Money in the Bank for years. We've even discussed every year around Money in the Bank time how the cash-ins can be formulaic. The concept of the pay-per-view itself is effective. The idea of the briefcase has gotten many people over, but not everybody that's carried it. I like doing it differently. I think this is cool. I like how he waited till the press conference, then he announced it, a week's notice. I think that's still, you could still gain the surprise of I'm cashing in, the match is next week. You can build it. I'm fine with the decision. And I think it's kind of cool just because it makes it more unique, right? It's not a straight ripoff of the Money in the Bank concept. Not that I felt like it was before, but it was easy to draw that line or connect those dots. And I like that he put his foot down and made a firm rule. If they change it in the future, that'll bother me.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Clark. I do think they have to make the decision and stick to it, and they have made it for the time being, so let's hope they stick to it. And I also agree that, to be honest, differentiating it from the WWE Money in the Bank briefcase is the right thing to do. It is the right idea. You don't want to be copying them. The only part I'm unsure about is if this is what the majority of fans want. Because, yeah, from a business perspective, I do think it's right. But the reasoning is that it was based on fan feedback. We did a post on this. 95% of the comments were, we actually don't like this idea.
I don't know. I understand that that's a possibility, and I didn't mean to just jump in there yet, because I know Josh wants to probably talk about this too. But I feel like also that's one of those votes where you can easily get sort of like a wave of people that are like, I'm going to make fun of it no matter what. And it had it been the opposite.
That's true.
Right. So
you're not wrong there, especially when it's Tony Khan.
Yeah. I take that one with a grain of salt statistically.
Yeah. No, I completely do agree. And Roundhead says, did you raise your hand for Mercedes Moné? So fun fact, right? There's literally like 15 people in this room, right? Because obviously, media, it's hard to invite a lot of media. Because obviously, the tickets are free and all of that. So they can't invite too many of them. So there's 15 people in this room. And Mercedes says this, and like the tension in the room suddenly, like it almost felt like she was going to go off on the media or something. It was just crazy. And then poor Simon Miller, she just went off at him and Tony was trying to defend him. It was just brilliant. It really, really was. But Josh, do you think this rule change is brilliant?
Yeah, I will agree in the part that they got to make a decision and stick with it. And this is a big decision. The Casino Gauntlet match is one of their bigger ideas, one of the better ideas that AEW has ever had. It's a success. So this is a monumental business decision from AEW. And I do think it's the right move. One, of course, like you guys mentioned, differentiation. As a rival competitor in the pro wrestling industry, you have to differentiate yourself. It was awful, too similar to Money in the Bank, which stinks because, the Money in the Bank is one of the best things in wrestling. It creates the best moments in the history of the sport. But frankly, it was too similar. But I will say another reason why I do think this will be successful is that AEW succeeds by announcing stacked cards prior to their events, as opposed to WWE, where there'll be a promo segment at the start of Raw, and then they'll announce a main event match that night. AEW will announce their cards, 2-3 days before Dynamite or before Collision. So, while AEW is still in that uphill battle trying to beat WWE in ratings every week, announcing an AEW championship match for the next week could significantly boost the hype for the match, the ratings, the build. I personally like this idea. And, as long as they stick with it, I think it's going to work out well. I think it'll make that championship match mean more than if MJF just kind of runs in and wins. Like, it's too similar to Money in the Bank, but it also allows for an actual build and an actual story to be built. So I'm with it, honestly. As long as they stick with it, I'm with it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there as well. And the other point, which we haven't really touched upon, was the other reason he gave, that, of course, AEW is very much a sports-based product. It is very much they want to approach wrestling from more of a sports perspective. They want to make sure championships matter compared to WWE, who kind of do more focus on the entertainment side of things, which I think there is undoubtedly a massive market for. But AEW has gone in the other direction. And this decision, not being able to make a random championship match at a random time, to your point, Josh, I do think makes a lot more sense.
100%. I agree. And from the sports perspective, yeah, no doubt. It would be way more entertainment if someone just runs in and cashes in the bank, but that's what WWE does.
Yeah.
I think it definitely makes more sense toward the sports perspective, like you mentioned. And it's going to work out better. It's going to make a better build. It'll make the ratings boost for that show. I think it works out perfectly as long as they stick with it.
Yeah, that is a good point. The other point I want to quickly touch upon, Clark, is that something me and you spoke about last week, with the fact that we thought MJF was still going to be in the Hurt Syndicate and he was going to trick everybody and cash in alongside the Hurt Syndicate. Obviously, that did not happen. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the only miss, as far as, because I liked the majority of the Hurt Syndicate storyline, is like it really just didn't. It just ended. They were like, actually, we didn't have an ending. So that's kind of what I think about it. Basically, I hope it comes back around. Obviously, we got a show tonight. Maybe there's some sort of interaction between MJF and the Hurt Syndicate, but I don't know. By the way, when you said sports-based product, all I could think is like, could you imagine the Eagles wake up on Sunday morning? They're like, we're playing the Cowboys today. We're cashing in.
They choose their opponent.
Like, we're already in Dallas.
Right. It's like Super Bowl Sunday. They run into cash in. They get a Super Bowl opportunity. I mean,
it's like halftime of a 0-0 game.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, I'm still hoping, to be honest, there is something with this Hurt Syndicate thing. I'm hoping that this is just something where there's a long-term vision and we just can't see it. Like they're still going to do a twist. But the longer it goes, especially now after Forbidden Door, I'm not sure if that twist is coming. And I don't get it, because with some storylines AEW have abandoned, such as the original EVP storyline, I've understood because the feedback's been so bad. The MJF Hurt Syndicate stuff was like fine. That's what I don't get.
Including myself, right? Like we liked it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me there, especially because I think there could have been a really good story told down the road. I guess the only fear would be maybe having to turn MJF into more of a sympathetic figure in that scenario, because how is he going to get one over on the Hurt Syndicate down the road? Like
that's true, but why would you book the storyline in the first place if that? Like you'd have to think of that like as soon as you're putting it together.
Yeah, you would assume. This is one of those mysteries that I don't know if it'll be solved until we get like a documentary down the road.
I think it's a mistake that AEW has made. They realized they made the mistake way too late into the process, and now they're just hoping the IWC forgets about it. But unfortunately, IWC never forgets. So. Yeah.
We don't, and to be honest, I'm really disappointed, because AEW, especially their storytelling, has been really, really good over the past 3 months. I mean, it's been maybe the best it's ever been, genuinely. It's really, really good. And now it's just, I don't know, it's just that one thing. Like, it's just bugging me.
Not that one. That's what it feels like. They're like, never mind.
It's a miss, but it's like, it's just a completely unnecessary miss too.
Yeah.
Like, there's sometimes where you're like, okay, well, stuff's happened. They're booked in a corner. Okay, it's all gone wrong, like Adam Cole and MJF. In this case, nothing even went wrong. I don't get it. Comments, help us out here. I'm completely and utterly just confused. Fernando says MJF paid off the Ricochet and Gates of Agony to attack the Hurt Syndicate for the Tag Team Championships. An MJF Ricochet Gates of Agony faction.
I wouldn't hate that. Actually, I really don't have a problem with that at all. Yeah. If that's the story, then okay. Yeah. Actually, that Fernando, you're onto something here.
Yeah.
Might have a solution.
They need a talker.
That's really not a bad idea. Like I hadn't considered that.
Yeah. That's actually great. I take back everything I said. Like I said, I said at the start of the segment, I said maybe there's a twist coming we can't see. Hopefully that's it, because that is genius, Fernando.
Yeah, that's really well done.
We got It's Zach in the comments as well. But without further ado, we've just given Tony Khan an awful lot of praise. Well, Jake Hager is not, because he was on Chris Van Vliet's Insight this week, and he went off on his former boss, Tony Khan. And he said that after all the Punk stuff went down, the boys got together and we had a meeting. Who comes into the room? Storming in, Daddy's little billionaire. And he's like yelling at us. We became his little playthings. We had to wait outside his office. His storylines were very good at debuting, but he could never carry anything through. He couldn't take criticism. I still, to this day, wish I could have stood up and said a lot of things. I mean, look, there was also some other words which were even meaner, but I'll just leave it at that because that's the gist of what he's saying, right? I think this is completely ridiculous, Clark, but what do you think?
All I could think when I first read the quotes was it's a lot easier to say stuff like that when you're retired from professional wrestling. And that's a place where he's speaking from, right? He announced he's not making a comeback anywhere else. He's done with professional wrestling in general. So he's going to say whatever he wants. I think it was brutal. I think it was a bit much. Where my brain went next was, wait, we know he's really close with Jericho, and there's all these whispers. There's all these whispers about Chris Jericho, and that was where my head went. What does that mean for that situation down the road? But yeah, it sounded like a bowl of bitter pudding at the end of the day, and that's fine. If you didn't enjoy your time, if you didn't feel like it was a professional enough environment or whatever. But the personal shots I just thought was a little excessive. I mean, what's the point? Who does it benefit there? I don't know. I'm a fan of Jake Hager's too, and his work, and I think he's an unbelievable, underrated athlete. He's excellent collegiate wrestler, better in MMA than people gave him credit for, and I think he was also better in the wrestling ring than people gave him credit for. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed to read some of this, Ben.
Later in the show, we're going to talk about overhated wrestlers, and I do agree with you that Jake Hager's both overhated but also underrated in the wrestling ring. But what I will say here is these comments are absolutely pathetic. These comments are clearly coming from somebody who thinks he is worth more than he was worth. He decided, not Tony Khan, he decided to come back to professional wrestling and to not put his full focus onto MMA, right? And let's not act like tons of wrestling companies wanted him. They didn't. WWE weren't interested in him coming back. He came back for Chris Jericho and for AEW. He went there, he did some fine work, but he was not a highlight. He was not leaving fans wanting more. He was given opportunities and he did fine with them, but nothing special. And the reality is there was a lot of people on this roster who were given the same opportunities and did a lot more with them, and therefore got more opportunities following it. So Jake Hager, I mean, honestly, it looks like he's just eating a big, massive slice of jealous pie here. And not only that, but he was actually talking in this interview too about how FTR decided to not show up because they hated one of these storylines which Tony Khan was pitching. And guess what? And they have the receipts, and they posted the receipts. That was a complete and utter lie. FTR have showed the receipts showing that was not true. Jake Hager mixed them up with somebody else or something, I don't know. But this interview was completely and utterly pathetic. And quite frankly, I've lost nearly all respect I have for Jake Hager.
I'm really glad you said the FTR part, because that was the part that threw me off the most. I was like, huh? I'm sorry I didn't even bring that up when it was my turn. Like, what? Why would you also, they're current employees too? Why would you even, unless you really don't like them, why would you put them in an uncomfortable situation at their current job? You're not even there anymore. What's the point? Unless you really don't like FTR. If he thought that what he was saying was going to be a stain on Tony Khan, it just makes FTR look unprofessional, and then they have to prove, like, what? No, not us. I thought that was, to me, that was the most over the line. Like, why would you? You better be dang right if you're going to call out somebody's name who currently works there.
Absolutely nuts. Absolutely stupid. That is for sure. And I agree with Fernando's comment here. Jake needs to look at himself in the mirror regarding his wrestling career. It is. I mean, the dude's a former world heavyweight champion. I don't understand how he's talking like he's suddenly hard done by in life. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And he's retired. It's easy when you're not looking to go somewhere else. He said he's retired from wrestling. So it's like, yeah.
He was retired from wrestling because AEW didn't want him. Yeah. WWE don't want him. TNA don't want him. And nowhere else is going to pay him enough to justify him doing it when it's clearly not something he loves anymore.
Yeah.
So it's
so unprofessional.
Even like the flips and the hot dogs and hamburgers line, like that was a joke. Like, what is he talking about? Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
From top to bottom, this guy, I mean, look, completely disappointing and just completely ridiculous. But talking about something which will not disappoint you, that is the Wrestling Republic Undercard channel, because we have videos on there every day, highlights, exclusive content, and more, all free. Our second channel, Wrestling Republic Undercard. Go and make sure you subscribe. And while you are at it, make sure you go and subscribe to my channel, Allison Analysis, as well, where every Tuesday and every Saturday, I analyze Raw and SmackDown and give my 5 key findings in less than 10 minutes. And also, don't have a graphic for this, but I'm going to plug it again anyway. Don't forget, next Monday, it is going to be the debut of the Wrestling Republic podcast. Every Monday, me, Clark, and Shard will be talking the biggest news story of the week, along with our 3 biggest takes of the week as well. It is going to be every single Monday, the Wrestling Republic podcast. Make sure that you guys check it out. But up next, we need to talk a little bit about Becky Lynch, because she has come under significant fire for comments which she made on Monday Night Raw. She was talking about Birmingham and her dislike for Birmingham, and said the only thing to ever come out of there which is good is Ozzy Osbourne, but he even knew that he had to get out of Birmingham and go to LA, which she described as a proper city, which is something which, if you've ever been to LA, I don't really think you'd be saying. But I was like, look, Birmingham's not a nice place, but LA is a million times worse. But anyway, she then went on to say that if she lived in Birmingham, she'd be dead too. These comments, they've gotten a lot of fire and a lot of mainstream fire here in the UK. A lot of news sites are talking about this, and they are not happy at all. And Ozzy Osbourne's own daughter, Kelly Osbourne, has come out and spoken about this. She called it disgusting and all of this. Look, at the end of the day, heels get heel heat. But also at the end of the day, the dude died 3 weeks ago. It's far, far too soon, at least in my opinion. But Josh, what is your take? Do you think she or WWE need to make an apology for this?
Yeah, this is massive news. I didn't even realize how big this was until I did more research on it. In the UK, I'm sure it's even bigger mainstream, but in the US at least, People.com, Fox News, Sports Illustrated, they've all covered this story. This is a big time story. Like, WWE and Becky Lynch are getting legitimate heat around the world, not even just from professional wrestling fans in the community. So, Becky Lynch is a heel. It's wrestling 101 for the villains to insult the crowd's hometown. You see it with everyone. It was one of those promos where, when she said it, my eyes popped. Like maybe too soon, definitely too soon, really. And, I think that's the case here. It was too soon. To be fair, she was trying to praise Ozzy Osbourne in heel fashion, but it was just too soon to make that comment. And I feel bad for Becky because, this is hitting global news, and it really was the WWE's writers teams that likely wrote that for a promo. I highly doubt she made that up on her own, to be honest. So she's actually taking the real life heat from the world and the Osbourne family, and it wasn't actually her that wrote the comment or the joke or for the promo, which kind of sucks. But I'm sure WWE has reached out to the Osbourne family to apologize. If they haven't, I think they should. It was too soon. It's heel work. It did prove that she's over as a heel, but it's a tough comment to make that soon to the death, especially in a place where he's such a legend and an icon. It's just, it wasn't a good idea. It's that simple.
I completely agree with you, Josh. We've got a couple of comments here. Firstly, Taylor Jones saying, Becky Lynch needs to say sorry and don't be sarcastic when she says it. Honestly, at this point, I do think it is probably in her interest and WWE's interest to just do something on social media, just apologizing about it. Don't make it on screen in kayfabe. Just do it, outside of that realm. And just,
yeah. All I could think when I saw the story, though, is fellow Irish icon. I'm here to apologize for absolutely nothing. If she does that, oh my goodness, it's awful.
She shouldn't do that.
I'm not suggesting
she cannot do that.
She can't.
That's dreadful.
No. I know. No. That's what I'm saying. But when it first happened, before I obviously it's way too soon with the Aussie stuff and whatnot. All I could think is that's what's coming.
That's dreadful.
As the story developed, it was oh man.
And they shouldn't do that, but the heat they would get, how over she would get, it stinks to think about, but true.
It would work.
If it was in Birmingham, she would. If she says that line in the States, she might get cheers. That's the thing. I don't even know if it would be heat at that point. But Say says no because she was big upping Ozzy Osbourne. She didn't say nothing bad about him. That is True, but especially that last line saying that if I lived in Birmingham, I'd be dead too.
That's
kind of where you did go over the line. And again, this guy died 3 weeks ago. If this was like a year ago, it wouldn't be an issue, right? Maybe the daughter might have done the story. I don't know. But I think a lot of fans would be on her side. But it's the fact of it's been 3 weeks and you're basically making jokes about someone's death.
Yeah,
I mean, that is pretty poor.
Is I think the biggest problem too. And then, like you said, the last line. But if you avoid the last line, I actually thought it was okay. It was tongue in cheek because it was just shocking enough. The last line is really the kicker for me.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, okay, no.
Yeah.
It's way too soon to say anything about death. It's only been 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they were towing the line and then suddenly they just went completely off the cliff. Fernando says, Clark, you would make an excellent heel in wrestling. That is
We all
true.
know that.
I appreciate that. No, honestly, that's my life's work. I think I might be an internet heel someday.
Yeah, you already are.
I think you're an internet heel now, Clark, honestly.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm
until
kind of a
Ignacio
tweener.
comes into it.
The Clarkamaniac.
Then-
I'm
Back
more of
in
a
the-
tweener.
I think your prime as a heel was the 2023 Cody tie clip. That was your
Oh,
prime.
Yeah,
That's
no,
brutal.
that was my biggest heel run.
Yeah, for sure.
But guys, up next, it is time to do a Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. Now, in case you guys haven't seen when we've done these the last couple of weeks, basically the way it works is simple. We all go round, we all make one pick each. We're going to do it this time, and I'm writing it down now so I remember. We're going to do it in snake draft order. It's not going to be like last week where we accidentally just did it in order. I mean, that was a biz, and nobody mentioned it either. We did the entire thing, and at the end, we all collectively realized, oh shoot, it wasn't a snake draft. But we are going to be today doing it on the most hated wrestlers. So sorry, the most overhated wrestlers, to clarify on that one. So basically,
hang on.
we're saying people. What?
You were about to clear up what I was about to ask. Sorry.
Basically, I've confused everybody now. Basically, we're going to name wrestlers who are overhated. They shouldn't get the hate which they get. It is unjustified. The internet hates them. Why do they hate them? They shouldn't hate them, etc., etc., etc. So without further ado, this is a Mount Rushmore of the most overhated professional wrestlers. I'll kick us off and go with Mercedes Moné. She's on the run of her career doing banger after banger after banger. She's uplifting women. She's putting women's wrestling on the map and independent women's wrestling on the map as well. People such as Kanji are getting their names spoken about more because they have wrestled her. So I don't understand why people are hating on her, why people are saying, oh, she's booking herself to win and all of this. She is helping professional wrestling and doing it in a really entertaining way in the process. Clark, what is your round one pick?
I'm gonna go with Jon Moxley. It bothers people that Jon Moxley does what he wants to do, and what he wants to do isn't in the WWE, and he gets hated on for that. And I understand that maybe the Death Riders stuff was a little bit warranted, but Jon Moxley's unbelievable. He mattered to the Shield. He made an incredible impact in the WWE, and he matters more to AEW than people give him credit for. And I think that's unfair. So Jon Moxley is my first pick.
Actually, a fantastic shout. What about you, Josh?
I'm going to go The Miz. He was labeled as a reality TV star, didn't belong, turned into one of the greatest heels WWE has ever had. Unmatched promo skills, consistent, he's rarely injured, elevates everyone, 15 years in the business. People hate him because he's really good at what he does.
Great shout. It is straight back to you, though.
I'm gonna hit Matt Hardy. I think he was overshadowed by Jeff a little bit, but I think Matt has been the creative innovator of the Hardys, reinvented himself a lot of different times, and I think without Matt's creativity, WWE wouldn't have leaned into those cinematic matches.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Hot take there, but yeah, fair enough. I mean, definitely he is a creative genius when it comes to it. And of course, like you said, the cinematic matches, which really were a highlight during the pandemic, he inspired those in TNA a few years before when they did what was it? I forgot the name of it now. House of Hardy? No, that was not it.
Yeah, it was the
like that.
oh shoot. The broken
That was
whatever.
the gimmick, but
There was a broken gimmick, yeah.
I can't remember what the name of it was.
I think it was the House
really
of Party.
was
House of Party.
innovative.
I actually think House of Party is correct.
Clark, it is back to you.
I'm going to go with Baron Corbin. I think this is an interesting one here. He's way better than anyone gives him credit for. And not only that, since he's been on the radio, since he's been released from the WWE, he's way more likable than he ever got credit for. They hated him as this sort of like non-social guy in the locker room on that Breaking Ground show on the network. And I don't know if that didn't hurt him slightly. Like, that's not even what he's like at all. He's super personable. He's got like a ton of interests outside of wrestling that are fun, cooking, sports, all of that. He seems to get along with everybody on all of the shows he works on. He's pretty much worked with the entire SiriusXM cast. And Baron Corbin doesn't deserve the hate he gets. He also was a better wrestler, is a better wrestler than anyone gives him credit for. But yeah, I guess Bishop Dyer is what we're talking about now, but still.
Yeah, no, honestly, I do completely agree with you there, Clark, because again, people always used to say he was boring, but I think the actual issue was he was given just really, really bad creative to work with most weeks. I mean, especially during that 2019 phase. I mean, it was just so bad. But then I do think when they started to do the sad Corbin gimmick, I think fans started to get a little bit more of a respect for him. Obviously, things from there did not go the way they wanted them to, but he was underrated in everything he did. He was just given really bad stuff to work with, I think, a lot of the time.
I couldn't agree more. I think that was always the issue with Corbin. And I mean, the End of Days was important. Like, he did a lot of really good, cool things and never really got credit for it. Like the dog food with Roman Reigns was a lot. That was no good. But at the same time, like, he just didn't deserve all the hate that he got.
He was also very trusted. I mean, he retired Kurt Angle at WrestleMania.
Right.
Again, I don't think that helped his cause, to be honest. I think that's another reason why he was so hated.
Yeah,
that's true.
And JBL's last match as well.
I actually didn't realize it was both. I forgot.
I actually didn't know the JBL part, to be honest.
It's pretty unbelievable.
But up next, I'm going to take Jade Cargill. She is somebody who always gets overanalyzed. People always say a million things about her matches. They look at them under a magnifying glass. But in reality, I think she gets better every time we see her. And I think, one, she just looks like a superstar. She has that aura. You can't describe it, and not everybody has it, but she certainly does. But secondly, on top of that, I do think she's a good wrestler in ring. I really do. I mean, I don't get the hate that really people direct towards her. I know you talk about this all the time, Clark.
Yeah, I don't get it either at all. Like, they don't make people that look like Jade Cargill. I say it all the time. Like, she looks like a video game character, and she's absolutely getting better in the ring, and she's great on the mic. Yeah, I love that pick.
But up next, it is also back to me as well, because it's a snake draft. I'm going to take Ricochet, because people have hated on him for quite some time. They said he can't cut promos, and you're right, he's not the best promo, but his gimmick, which he is doing now, he is playing literally perfectly, and obviously it is meant to be hated, right? So he's doing his job right, I guess. But even still, I mean, this guy puts on really good matches. He's always entertaining, yet just people make fun of him constantly, even before this gimmick. I can't really get my head around that one.
I can't either. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Absolutely. But well, before we go up next, I'm going to read out some of the comments quickly. The Dan Kennedy Show saying, what is your opinion on the comments that Mark Henry made about Roger Jackson incident? I did a video on this channel earlier today on Wrestling Republic News. Check that out, and I go in depth about all of it because it's a big, big story and there's a lot to break down on it. But Taylor Jones says that Joe Hendry is one. I don't know if Joe Hendry's hated, to be fair. That's the one thing I'll say on that.
I do think it's possible here soon.
Very soon.
We're gonna get sick of it. I have a weird feeling that we're gonna get sick of the smiling and like, yeah.
Wow. Big call, lads. Big call. Fernando making it clear as well. Charlotte was ridiculously hated a few months ago. Of course, now one of the most over people in WWE. It is crazy the difference a couple of months can make. But Clark, back to you. Who are you taking?
My pick was Charlotte. What the heck?
Well, she's not hated anymore. She's like one of the most over stars in the company now.
But over time, Charlotte has been hated on, and she's a Hall of Famer, and she's one of the best in the industry. and Charlotte is my pick. Still, despite this wave and this turnaround, she's always been overly criticized. She gets the Nepo baby BS about her dad that I can't stand. And so Charlotte is on my list because I think she still deserves better than even what she gets right now.
Fair enough on that one, Josh. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go MVP here, Montel Vontavious Porter. A lot of people don't give the guy credit. They downplay his impact because he transitioned to the manager role, but his first run to like 2006, 2010 was stellar. He had a great U.S. title run, which ended up being one of the more important ones of that time. Came back years later, elevated the Hurt Business, elevating Bobby Lashley world champion status. He's great on the mic. He was also solid in the ring. I don't think he gets a lot of credit.
You know what? That's actually a really, really great pick. Josh, he definitely is somebody who's gone under the radar for years, and now people are giving him a lot of criticism on social media because, of course, his comments about Triple H, I think, is a big part of that. But he's entitled to his opinion, and I do have to say, I think a lot more people are starting to come around to his way of thinking as well when it comes to it. But Josh, it is also back to you again. Who are you taking next?
I think I'm going to take JD McDonough. Gets a lot of criticism for his size, his look. He's legitimately, I think, WWE's most underrated wrestler. It just feels like he's waiting for that singles push. I think the Judgment Day is giving him a platform to shine, but he doesn't go over much. He doesn't get that pop enough. Takes a lot of big bumps, a lot of crazy stuff. Doesn't get a lot of credit for it. I'm going JD McDonough.
You know what? A fantastic shout. I can't argue with that one at all. Also, a huge forehead, which I'm sorry, but I just had to mention.
Oh, no, that's an 8-head, Ben. That's an 8-head.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
It's a
it's a sight to behold. But it's also really is when he does headbutts. I can't believe he don't do more of them anymore. On the indies, he did way more. Yeah, it actually should be. But I do agree. He's the most
probably got
underrated
swollen from the
wrestler,
headbutts in the first place, so he had to cut back.
That's probably what caused it. It was normal size actually originally. Clark, what about you?
Okay, I don't know if you'll let me take this one, so I do have a backup just in case, but I'm going with Tony Schiavone. The guy's a Hall of Fame broadcaster.
That's not a
People
wrestler.
yell at him. You can't.
No,
give
it's not a wrestler.
All right, then I'll take Nia Jax. I'll take Nia Jax. Nia Jax has always gotten hated on. She's awesome, and I'll take Nia Jax. But Tony Schiavone deserved a shout out on this show too. But Nia Jax,
But to close it out, I'm going to take Nikki Bella because she is somebody, and I'm in the wrong screen, which means it's just going to completely mess up the reel. My bad on that one. I'm going to have to repeat myself. Sorry, guys.
Do the John Cena rewind thing. Do the run it back thing.
Yeah, we'll
all of it.
Pretend it never happened.
Okay. Yep. Rewind.
I'm going to take Nikki Bella. She is somebody who for years actually did really, really good work in WWE. Did she also do stupid stuff? Yes. But the reason for that was, again, that was the booking of the time. The women's wrestling was not really being given, was not being looked at seriously. But then as soon as the transition happened in 2015, 2016, 2017, when she was still in the company, she improved drastically in the ring. And her one weakness, if you want to even say that, was maybe her promos on the mic. Well, let me tell you something. Since she's come back to WWE for this run, she's been cutting great promo after great promo. So at this point, I think she's not only overhated, I think she's underrated. And she feels like a big, big star.
She went toe-to-toe with Becky in that promo. Obviously, we talked about it earlier that it was controversial. We didn't mention Nikki, but we talked about it on yesterday's show, Ben. Like, Nikki was awesome in that promo. She really did. She was great. Yeah. It was the total, she took the haymaker in the first one, the John Cena line, the you can't see him thing, right? If it was a boxing fight, this is what me and Archie talked about yesterday. If it was a boxing fight, right? She took the big haymaker in the first round, maybe got dropped, but then she came back with jabs and got back in the fight again, too. And I think that's almost more impressive for Nikki to do that, to be able to recover from that one.
Yeah. She feels a lot more natural, a lot more comfortable on the mic now compared to a decade ago. That's what's really being clear with me in this run.
I would agree 100%.
But there we have it, guys. We have our Mount Rushmores of overhated wrestlers. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think, and if you think we've missed anybody. Some other names which I'll just read out, which I had on my list: Chris Jericho, Sami Zayn, Young Bucks, Logan Paul, Cora Jade, Elena Black, Jey Uso.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
By the way, get your brothers out of the comments and stuff we already talked about.
Rewind.
Josh.
What's the we talked about it a segment ago.
Yeah, rewind.
Go back to the 25-minute mark.
Yeah, you'll
rewind. Get your remote controller like I did a minute ago and rewind.
Casual.
Casual.
Oh boy.
Careful, Clark will start trying to claim they're not real. But on that note,
everyone's a formal fan.
That does bring us to the end of a really fun show. Thank you to everybody who's been in the comments. We really appreciate you being here. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow to talk a little bit of AEW Dynamite. Thank you to Clark. Thank you to Josh for joining me here today. We will see you guys tomorrow. Pa 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 pa.